afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Today we're going to have a discussion about Black Entertainment Weekly. The magazine was started in 1987. 1987, the nightlife in New York was really jumping. I had a co-worker. I was doing a magazine in Harlem called Community Business. So this friend of mine named John said, well, why don't you come to Brooklyn and do an entertainment magazine? It was a small thing about the size of a jet. Well, actually a little bit larger than a jet magazine. So he said, why don't you come and try this out? And okay, so I go home, I talk to my wife. I asked her, what you think about it, because first you get your spouse involved and then you figure out what works from there, So she said, well, you know what, you can't name it community business. She said, why don't you name it Entertainment Weekly? And the reason why she said Entertainment Weekly was because there was a show on called Entertainment Tonight. So basically that's how we got started. So I go to Brooklyn. There was a whole lot of stuff going on at the time. We actually started with 4 bars. And out of the 4 bars we had a round robin. And there were other papers there at the time. Basically that's the reason why we got there, because you had the Big Apple, you had and you had a thing called Nightlife. So Nightlife was just about pictures, clip. Actually, the Big Apple was about, it was really ahead of its time, but it was like a gossip thing. He actually wrote about people who were going with, doing things. So a lot of folks didn't like that. So we came up with a new concept, really, just show people in a positive light. Do your business with your business, So we did that for a minute, and so we kept that for a couple of years, and we changed printers, because what happened to my printer, he had some problems, so we moved to a newspaper for a couple of years. That's when we named it BEW. And we did that for a period of time, and we did BEW, which would cover most of the social life, and star maid, barmaid, whatever was really going on other than church. Probably had some churches too, I don't know, But what we did was we actually roamed the streets at night, man. Brooklyn was, my friend liked to think of it as Wild Wild West, but in reality, I didn't see it that way. But he saw it as the Wild Wild West. Basically because at that time, we wasn't paying attention to what was going on. I didn't see no crime, I'm quite sure it was. There was no robbery, I'm quite sure it was. There might have been drugs, but marijuana got wide open after a period of time. You can go to a store and buy it, that restaurant was open. It wasn't no restaurant, you know what I mean? So my friend liked to say it was the Wild Wild West. What interested me most about Brooklyn at the time was, it was like in Manhattan, they probably closed up at 4 o'clock. It seemed like they opened up in Brooklyn. It was rolling. So we were going from bar to bar, taking pictures. And I was actually, this guy named Zach. Zach and Jim Barrett actually turned me on to taking pictures, because I could take pictures, but Zach knew how to take pictures, and they were taking pictures at night and selling pictures to the Big Apple, and what's it, Leroy? Leroy was a photographer who had a shop, and so I befriend them. They told me, well, no, they would say, well, hey, don't do that, don't do that. They would tell me how to take a picture of certain people or what to do. Jim Barrett was very good at that. Jim Barrett told me, listen, let so-and-so know you're going to take a picture of her, or take pictures of so-and-so. And so we had basically what we call money shots, because you had to get the money shot because you was going to a lot of parties in a weekend. And so we did that for a while, and then Andy started working with me, Andy Lewis. He started taking pictures. And we had a certain, he would cover like the Caribbean part of the town most of the time. And I was on the other side because I couldn't hit all of them at once. Sometimes, especially around Harvard, I had a problem with my job, and that didn't work out too well. And so we cover a lot of property, did a lot of things. And I think it's like a collection of memories. And what people don't understand was we were doing what we were doing. We were enjoying ourselves, having fun, trying to show people in a positive light. We wasn't all doing bad things. We were all, enjoying ourselves and having a good time. So what we want you to do is now sit back And when you look at these things, just take a trip down memory lane. Thank you.